Well, good morning. I am so delighted to be here and really enjoyed meeting a lot of you last night at the welcome dinner. Um, it's a lot of fun to be able to bring a potentially new eye treatment option to talk with you about today. So I have about 10 minutes, which isn't long. If you have more questions, please save them for the sessions later or find me, but I'll do my best to do a little whirlwind tour, okay? I did notice there were a lot of families here for the first time. So we will get right to the discussion of the lens, but I do want to say if you're a family member and you want to know what it's like to be an individual who has a lot of crystals in your cornea, imagine getting into your car on a winter morning when there's a lot of frost on the windshield, maybe you're facing east and the glare comes through the windshield and you are blinded. Has anyone had that experience driving a car? Okay. That's what it's like all the time, every day for someone with corneas filled with crystals. This is like little shards, refractile bits in the cornea, and every one of them will scatter the light, and that's why they produce this glare effect. So we are very well aware of the eye drops used to treat the crystals in the cornea. We're grateful there are two different kinds, Cystaran, Cystadrops. The only difference is the Cystadrops are thicker, so they stick on the cornea a little bit longer, which is why they can be used less frequently. Both of these drops have preservative in them to keep them safe on your eyes. And the big punchline is they work. So as we talk about alternate treatments, I'd just like to be very clear. These drops work, use them, they will clear your crystals. I think of it like a lollipop. So your body is producing crystals, constantly adding them to the cornea and the other structures in your body. And if you're just sort of licking that off bit by bit, you can keep up with it and remove the crystals at the same rate that they're being produced. If you arrive to your eye exam with a lot of crystals, we're going to have to use drops more often to kind of clear what's there. So you're going to be kind of working on that lollipop a little more aggressively. But when we talk about treatment recommendations, which I'll just put one quick slide at the end, you'll hear me say that it's fine to group those drops at times in the day that are convenient to you, because the only important thing at the end of the day is that you have had enough contact with drop on the cornea to dissolve some of those crystals. So it doesn't have to be on this strict regimen like the oral medicines have to be. Big distinction. So again, this is the they work slide. Both of these pairs of pictures, on the left is a patient with brown eyes, on the right with blue eyes. This is the highest grade of crystal score that we can measure, a 3.0 on the scale we used, a year of using the drops, and the crystals clear. So that is the punchline. Why do we need another treatment? You guys know better than I do why we need another treatment. We surveyed patients last year when we were developing the finer details of the contact lens study, which we hope to launch. We wanted to know, what do you want? We thank CRN for putting this survey out to many of its members, and we thank you guys for responding. We ended up with 73 respondents, both in Europe and the US, and we learned a lot about your thoughts on eye treatment. Number one, 58% of you weren't satisfied with the current treatment options. Fewer than 50%, fewer than half of you are able to use it in what we would call compliance, use it in the recommended way. And by recommended, we mean for the Cystaran drops somewhere between 6 to 12 times a day. We don't mean every hour while awake. I never tell patients to use it every hour while awake. So what was the problem? Frequency of use? That's very hard. If you don't have cystinosis and you've ever tried to do something 4 times a day, very hard, let alone 6, 8, 10 times a day. Temperature controls, the logistics of these medicines, but the biggest problems were the irritation that it causes on the cornea. People on the survey saying they hurt, right? The drops hurt. The chemicals in them are difficult to handle at that frequency. And then with the Cysta drops, the gel formulation, it can cause blurring for a bit because you just have a thicker gel on your eye until it washes away. So that's why blurred vision can also be a transient problem. So what is this great new possibility? Basically, a contact lens, the same sort of contact lens that people use to wear instead of glasses, is loaded up with the drug, and then the contact lens is put on the eye, and over a period of time, the drug transfers from the contact lens onto the surface of the eye and clears the crystals. So that is the whole concept here. As it turns out, if you just load the contact lens with drug and put it on the eye, the drug leaves the lens in about 10 minutes time. That's not enough time for the treatment effect we want. So Dr. Chauhan and his team at Colorado School of Mines developed kind of a model, a barrier where vitamin E is loaded into the contact lens and creates a little bit of a maze. So imagine you're running across a football field and it's empty very quick. Imagine there are about 100 football players on the team and you have to run across the football field and get through all those people. It's going to take you a lot longer. And so if you imagine, here's the drug getting through the cornea very quickly because there are no barriers, loaded up with vitamin E, then send the same drug through the, and I did not make that cartoon, but it takes longer to get through. And then you can see electron micrograph view of a contact with those little vitamin E spots in them. So by putting vitamin E in the contact lens, we extend the release time anywhere from 2 to 4 to 6 to 8 hours, depending on how much vitamin E we put in. So this is sort of the science behind contact lenses that can release drug over an extended period of time. So what do we know? It was tested in rabbit eyes, live rabbits, and there were no side effects, no adverse effects, no inflammation in all the structures we test. And then to see if it could actually work to clear crystals, Dr. Chauhan and his team took cadaver cornea, cadaver rabbit corneas, loaded them up with cystine crystals, and then applied the contact lenses. And so here you can see on the top left slide is kind of that cloudy cornea with crystals. And then after 25 subsequent contact lenses, it's cleared. So we believe that the concept would hold on the human eye. So what sort of conclusions can we draw? We did learn that the cysteamine concentrations in the rabbit eye reach 5 to 10-fold of the cysteamine concentrations from using eye drops alone. That's very encouraging. These contact lenses have been used. Dr. Chauhan had actually devised them not for cystinosis. He was approached to try to tackle our problem in the cystinosis community, but he had developed them for other drug delivery, for antibiotics, for glaucoma medicine. So they've been used safely in humans, and they're under study for those purposes. And in our survey of 73 respondents, 72 out of 73 respondents said they would eagerly try these contact lenses. So there is interest in the community. We've designed our study and happy to answer more questions about it. I'll say a couple things that are important. Number one, there will be no preservative in the contact lenses, so the BAK problem is sort of solved. Number two, our extension form of the study would allow the contacts to be given in prescriptions that match your own prescription. So you could wear it all day long and not have to wear glasses. That is if you tolerate contact lenses. The study, as it stands, you would be instructed to wear them for 3 or 4 hours. In that period of time, you would, our belief is you'd get at least more than enough of the daily dose needed to clear the corneal crystals. So you could put them in after the workday or after your school day, leave them in for a few hours, take them out and go to bed, if that makes sense. Yes, so now we're just looking for funding and applying for grants and such. So I just want to take the last 2 minutes to give a few words of guidance because I know that there are a lot of new members in this group, and it's always, I have to say, I get most excited by seeing people who say they're here for the first time at the CRN meeting. Yearly eye exams, that's the minimum. So if you have cystinosis, please see your eye doctor every year. Ask your eye doctor to use one of these very available and smart techniques to show you the crystals in your eye. It's very motivating to see a picture with a lot of crystals and then see a picture with not very many crystals because you worked really hard to get rid of them. So ask to see those pictures. There are different ways we capture that. And when I talk to families, I say, this is difficult. Please recognize that from the outset. I never expect a family to use the treatment standard that's given on that bottle right away. And what I find is a lot of families carry guilt that they're not giving their kids the very best treatment. They're not getting that drop in every day for, how many times a day. And that to me is the saddest thing. I want to just wipe that guilt away. You are handling so much and tell you the way I recommend starting the drops is start a drop a day, then 2 drops, then 3, and work up from there and talk with your ophthalmologist about how to tailor that. But absolutely wipe away the guilt that you can't do 1 drop every hour, let alone maybe 6 to 10 times a day, and just begin small and work up from there. Preservative-free artificial tears are your friends. Your eyes will feel dry. You can use them. I recommend currently when you're using the Cysteran or Cysta drops, wait at least 5 minutes before that medicine drop has had a chance to work before you use any of those, and they will be safe over the contacts as well. And just remember, they work. So I know we don't have a lot of time. That was my 10-minute whirlwind, but if we save the questions for later, we can stay on schedule. Does that sound good? Thank you on behalf of Anuj Chauhan. I wish he could have been here too, but anyway, he's here in spirit.